to start this season off, Coach, you guys are going to be here at home early as opposed to last year. You had more road games to start off with, and I think you mentioned there's like a double midweek with UTSA. What kind of went through your mind when you saw that schedule be released for this season early on?
Well, first of all, man, we put our own schedule together, so when it was released, we had already seen it for a while. We open up in Arlington with 3 games, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Vandy, and then go down to Edinburgh to play UT Rio Grande Valley, who had a really good year last year, and then come home. I think we play Albany and then Bakersfield, sandwiched in between there with, like you said, UTSA, and really like the challenge of going to Arlington opening weekend. Like the fact that it's indoors, as long as if they need to close the roof, right? You know you're going to get to play the games. And going to Edinburgh, you would think you'd get to play the games, right? I mean, about as far south as you can go in the state of Texas, and so you know it's a challenging schedule through the 56 games. I mean, anytime you play a 14-week season, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to show up, you know, and play good baseball every day, and the guys are looking forward to that.
With the new pitching staff here, what's kind of been the excitement or just your assessment overall as you guys have been practicing?
Probably more than anything, just to see what Coach Foster and Coach Merriman have put together with the lab, with our pitching lab. I mean, really, to go from having a TrackMan in there and a few Edgetronics cameras to now you got bioscientists and motion capture things and things. I don't even know the names to all of them. But to put together one of the best labs in the world in a short amount of time, and to be able to use the lab and the information that's coming from the lab has been really eye-opening, I think, for our guys. Like today, I think you got Trevor Rogers throwing in there, Kyle Robinson, and I think Hunter Dobbins. All our former guys that are pitching in the minor leagues or in the big leagues have been in for at least 2 or 3 days to utilize it. And really just phenomenal what they put together with the whole program.
Speaking of pitching, I know it's early, but I guess give us your thoughts on not necessarily rotation, but
yeah,
I mean who you're thinking as far as starters.
So we've built up 6 to 8 guys to be able to start. They're all competing for those spots. Obviously coming in here, what's up, Coleman? You kind of know the questions coming. Parker Gutierrez walking in there, you know, he'd probably be one of the guys that's at the top of the list based on how he threw at the end of the fall. Lucas Perko be a guy, Espinoza be a guy, Ryan Freed be a guy, Case Ranieri be a guy in there. Obviously Jackson Burns was in the rotation last year, opening weekend, and came down with, I don't remember if it was mono or the flu, whatever it was, but it set him way back, right? And so I just named 6 or 7, I think. And I can assure you I left a few off. I mean, Will Jordan, you could throw in that mix for sure. Beavis, you could throw in that mix for sure. And so but we'll let it kind of play out. We got a month. And I would think by the time you get into February, we got a decent idea of who it goes to. But then it could be different guys as you go into March, right? I mean, really, you're trying to put together a staff for that day where you can shorten games, right? You obviously want somebody to go out there and throw, you know, 6 innings if possible, right? But you really want that bullpen to be able to shorten games for you.
You mentioned Ryan Freed a moment ago. Would you?
Becerra's another one. Go ahead.
Would you like Ryan Freed to start or be available to be used kind of leverage?
So he got on the mound first time yesterday. He wasn't on the mound in the fall. The cool thing about Ryan Freed, he's got enough experience we can do either with him. There's not going to be anything that surprises him as far as that goes. And he's built up enough to start if that's what we decide to do. Really just the luxury of having him and being able to run him out there with all the experience he has. I mean, really, we're looking forward to that. And whatever role it's in, that's what it is.
You said you got a month, obviously, before the season opener. Is that enough time? I mean, I guess as a coach, probably never enough time for you guys.
I think it's enough time. I would say when a guy gets 30 at-bats under his belt, they start feeling pretty good about seeing the baseball. And you get pitchers as far as being on the mound. It's different for different guys. There's some guys can fall out of bed on Christmas and pitch, and there's some guys need 4 to 6 outings. And so try to figure out what that is. But it's really more time than we've had in the past. Like the ABCA and NCAA pretty much allowed us to start full team practice this past Monday. I think initially they had it the week before. And so I think it should be enough time, especially if the weather holds up.
I know it's clearly not, playing Oklahoma or Texas like you guys did in the fall, but how important are these scrimmages that you guys are going through right now for you guys as coaches?
You'd like to think it's as competitive as playing those guys. Obviously, when you line up your best 9 guys against their best 9 guys, it should be a little more competitive, right? And so, really right now, seeing pitches, and guys getting on the mound, really, you guys have heard me say this, just trying to find rhythm and timing and some comfort with the speed of the game is what you're trying to do. And but these scrimmages are important. You always make a decision based on weather. At this time of year, hey, like when can we enter squad? And we did wait till yesterday. And so just based on, again, like we've been blessed with good weather up till tomorrow, right?
Who are, talking about the offense, your lineup and whatnot, who are some guys that you what do you see as kind of strengths of your team offensively, and who are some guys that you think are gonna be in there? Yeah,
it's a really broad question. So I could go with who's going to be in there and give you 9 guys, and it'd be different 2 weeks, right? New guys, the guys that'd be excited about. Matt Quintanar's a catcher. You'd be excited about watching him. Lincoln Garcia's an infielder. You'd be really excited about watching him. He's going to remind fans of some of the better infielders we've had come in here as freshmen. Jesse Resnick's a freshman, a 2-way guy that could play some outfield, could also pitch out of the bullpen. Really just a really solid baseball player from Brock, Texas. Just kind of hitting on a few. Connor Schaus is a transfer from Georgia Tech that is going to be a 2-way guy also. Really exciting, dynamic baseball player. Can play in the infield, can play on the dirt, could also play in the outfield. And so that's cool. I just named 2-way guys. And probably the most unique thing to me is they both want to do it. And, to get a guy that wants to do that in this day and age is a little bit different. And so we're excited about them wanting to do that. I mentioned the pitching lab and some of the things we're doing, Don. It's going to allow us to do that. It's going to allow us to do it with good information. In other words, you're going to have information where there are guys in a good spot to pitch that day. In other words, based on where his arm is that day, based on some of the stuff we're using. Hollis Porter's a transfer from Maryland, hit 22 home runs last year. He's a guy that you'd like to get in there. Golly, there's a whole bunch of them. Caden Ferraro's a transfer from Glenn. I would expect to see him in there quite a bit. And so I think that's probably hitting on most of them. I don't know that I can write you a lineup out yet, but I would tell you, and it's okay to say this, I do think we've got 6 guys that are going to be in there. That I feel like I know are going to be in there. I think there's a lot of competition, and I think within those other 3 or 4 spots, you might have guys moving around the diamond. In other words, you got guys that are baseball players that can play some different spots as guys press their way in. And, again, like the simplest thing is if you swing the bat, we'll find you a place to stand, right? And, as guys hit, you start moving guys around to figure that out.
You mentioned Lincoln Garcia. Is he the left side of the infield, or does he play second, or is he one of those guys that you mentioned you can put him anywhere?
He's played short nearly every day he's been here. He could go to third, I think, very easily. And again, like how guys play it short will determine that. How guys play it third will determine that. But he's plenty capable of playing both, and plenty capable of playing second if you needed him to.
Coach, going back to Coach Foster, I mean, he brings a lot of MLB experience. I mean, just what has that kind of been like for these young players, and what does it mean to just have them on your staff?
It'd probably be better to ask them. I mean, since you ask what's it been like for them, I think they'd answer that question a lot better. I think Coach Foster and Coach Merriman bring a wealth of experience, a lot of wisdom, which there's a lot of old baseball people with experience and wisdom. There's not a lot of old baseball people that are using the science, and these guys are using information that's being used at the highest levels of the game, and they're two of the best in the world at it. So our guys are really fortunate that those guys are here. And I think across college baseball right now, there's a little bit of what would you call it, news about college baseball coaches going to professional baseball, right? Have y'all seen that? These two guys, they want to be here. They've both been approached in that same avenue, and both decided to be here.
And then you mentioned just a lot of new tech and having this pitching lab, and it seems like you're enjoying it. What's been, I guess, what stood out the most about this pitching lab and in your assessment of how players are using it?
Yeah, I think you're talking about body movements. I think you're talking about analysis. I think you're combining biomechanical people with pitching people, with baseball people. I think you're talking about pitch shapes. I think you're talking about spins. I think you're talking about guys learning what their strength is. And so I'm not going to be the authority on exactly what that is, but in a nutshell, that's some of it. The feedback our guys are getting daily with the Kinetic Pro stuff, there's a deal our guys are using where they do arm testing every day, and it basically spits out their throwing program for the day, tells them how many throws they have for the day. In my 33 years, I've never had access to that. You go look at most major league programs, major league teams are using that, maybe once a week, maybe twice a month. Our guys are using it every day. And so it's a different level. These guys are really good at what they do.
Is that something like on game day, you go into a game and say, hey, look, this says I've got this many pitches?
It's every day. It literally tells you every day. And so, like, to answer the question, you think a guy's throwing on short rest. Like we've had this discussion in staff meetings. Sometimes guys have more arm strength and are in a better position to throw sooner than maybe day three, kind of like you and I going to exercise. You might be sore on day three than you are day two. Well, that information, we're going to have it, from a standpoint of what the app's saying anyway. And then I think the end all is what your eyes tell you, right? I mean, that's always going to be a factor, but it's nice to have the info.
Yeah, do you still go off of feel though? I mean, like if you go out on a mound visit, you know that you're close to that number, and are you going to be like, well, you got kind of like Little League, you got 8 more pitches?
I think you're really using it more. To me, what you're talking about is, I think you're going to know how many pitches they have. You've always known that before we were using this. I think what you're talking about more is a guy available that day. Can they shorten the game for you? Can they be in the bullpen? Can they start the game? I think once the game starts, you're always going to see with your own eyes what you're seeing, and if a guy's at the end of his rope or not.
You talked a lot about the new people. How important is it to have like the continuity of Tracer and Logan and Robin back for another year?
Yeah, I mean, I I think anytime you have guys that are returning and they have a feel for how you want to do things every day, and they got a sense of what it looks like when it's right. And we talk a lot about, man, there's been a lot of college baseball teams have good weekends and good games, but not a lot of teams have great seasons. And I think both those guys have seen it. And so I think that helps, helps with the rest of your team. And probably also worth mentioning, Aaron Azell, Nick, Sal, those guys in the weight room, just for you guys' information, we've had a change there too. And you can walk around the facility and look at the guys. I mean, these guys made really good strides from mid-November till January. I mean, there's a lot of guys got stronger and look really good.
You got a couple of old guys here that remember Aaron, his first.
Yeah, his Mike Leach days for sure.
What was the impetus behind starting bringing the alumni game back?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. Around that time, we've been having our tailgate dinner, and the whole intention of the tailgate dinner was to get people in the ballpark, right? And we kind of thought that maybe we could do something here where it gets people into the ballpark. And I think the tailgate dinner, we've had it so many times where we thought, man, we've got the same group coming. And I think we got a really good group of alumni coming back. I think you got 4 or 5 big leaguers coming back. I think you've got, a bunch of guys playing in the minor leagues knocking on the door. And so I think it's going to be a very competitive game. I think every pitcher that runs out there is in organized baseball right now for the alumni. And so to me, it was, if you're going to have an event on a day to try to create excitement for your fan base, why not play baseball compared to maybe, even though as much as I like Kegel steaks, I mean, I go eat one of those every day, but we'll do plenty other stuff out there.
What all pro guys have come through and worked out?
So far, nearly all of them. By this time in the January, nearly they've all been through. Some have already been through and reported. Like the younger guys are having to report earlier and earlier. And so like Bravo and McGee, those guys are already kind of getting close to reporting. But nearly all of them, McMillan, Beater, Killian, Dobbins, Fulford just said bye today. Literally, Fulford's pulling out here, I think, tomorrow or the next day. And so Mashinsky's been back. All those guys have been, I would say, have been back.
Josh and James.
They're here nearly every day. Yeah, they're here nearly every day. And they, again, everybody wants to know that everything's leading towards those guys being here, on the 31st.
Do you remember the last alumni game? You played.
I think I played in it.
Yeah, you led off and one of them hit a home run, right?
Now, that was a softball game. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Are you gonna play?
I literally put my glasses on back there earlier and went and tracked some balls just in case. So I think we got enough guys where at least Hester and I don't have to probably play, but Goot might have to. We'll see. And of course, we all know Goot can play first base in his sleep. So, and honestly, I really like watching it. So.
You ever hear AJ Ramos on MLB radio, network radio?
I mean, I've talked to AJ. AJ's coming back for it. AJ's going to probably handle the pitching, for the alumni team. And to answer the question, I haven't listened to MLB radio. I've probably heard him once. I think I caught him on the TV one day. I think they had him on the TV. And so he kind of said if he can figure out a way to throw a ball and his shoulder not go out, he'd get an out for us. And so we'll see. But man, I thought, a guy from Lubbock that pitched as long as he did, and as competitive as he did, to bring back the alumni game, and he's in town, that's an easy decision. What's up, guys?
So Anything else? All right, thanks for being here.
Thanks,
Okay.
Coach.
Yep, appreciate it.